So, all right, here it is. We're going to talk about the big A, and that is accountability. And in today's world, in today's business environment, in a dental office especially, and even within dental departments, it is absolutely imperative that we be able to depend on other people. And so what are we talking about? We're talking about accountability. And, if you're having accountability issues in your office, you're definitely going to want to watch this video. So first of all, let's talk about a few just basic definitions, because accountability and responsibility oftentimes get confused. And I think if you don't have these definitions laid out pretty carefully in your office, then these terms become interchangeable, and they're really not. So the way I like to think about it is that we are responsible for tasks, okay? We are responsible for tasks. I was responsible for making this video. Now, I'm accountable to my team for making this video within the time frame that I've been given to make this video. So let's talk about that in terms of your dental office. You are responsible for verifying insurance. You are responsible for scheduling patients, but you are accountable to the team or to your department, or maybe even really the patient, frankly, for doing those things. So we are responsible for tasks, but we are accountable to people or teams for doing those tasks. So let's see if we can't just work within that definition. Now, it's not as quite as easy as you might think, because first of all, accountability starts with extreme clarity. So before you can even talk about holding people accountable, you have to make sure that you have absolute clarity on the request that you are going to make. And that's the big C word, which is communication. And so really important that when you are communicating your request to someone, that it is extremely clear on what that request is. Remember, in the book Radical Candor, communication happens at the ears of the listener, not the mouth of the speaker. So it's about what the listener is hearing. It's about what the listener is interpreting more than what you are saying. So I like to use these clarifying statements where I can just kind of word vomit onto somebody, but then ultimately I have to say, hey, what did you hear me say? What do you think the request actually is? And chances are there will be an opportunity to even make it more clear than it was when I initially first stated it. So extreme clarity with the request is the absolute start of being able to hold someone accountable. Well, what's the next step? Well, once we have clarity in the request, we have to make sure that the person that we're giving the request has what I call the 2 C's. The 2 C's are competency and capacity. Now, competency means, can they do it? Do they have the tools, training, and resources, the skills, the knowledge to do it? I can't ask someone to fly a plane from Houston to Dallas if they don't know how to fly a plane. So they have to have the tools, training, and resources, and they have to have the competency to be able to fulfill the request. How do we make sure that they know that? We have to ask them. That's called support from your leader. I want to support you. I want to set you up for success. So do you have everything that you need in order to be successful in accomplishing this request? And then the second thing that they have to have is the capacity. They may know how to fly a plane from Houston to Dallas, but maybe they have no time to fly the plane from Houston to Dallas. So we have to make sure they have the time. And then in conjunction with, do they have the time? Do they have the time to do it within the time frame that I'm going to give them to do it? So can they meet the deadline? So we have to make sure that a deadline is negotiated as well. Because remember, time separates intention from commitment. If we don't put a deadline on it, then all we're doing is asking someone to intend to get to it, but we really want them to commit to do it. And so if we have all these things together, if we have clarity in our request, if we have a person that has the competency and the capacity to fulfill the request, and if we can agree on a time frame in which that request should be accomplished, then and only then are you allowed to hold someone accountable. And let me throw one little caveat in there. If you've given somebody a week to fulfill a request, maybe at the 6-day mark, you might want to come to them and do what I call the little nudge and just say, hey, are you ready for our meeting tomorrow? Or did your dog eat your homework? Do you need more time? So the little nudge is, again, we're setting people up for success. The last thing you want to do is walk into a meeting where somebody's not prepared, and then they have to tell you that the dog ate their homework type of thing. It's a waste of time. So be a good leader, be a good support person, give them that little nudge. And when they say, yes, I'm ready, then we can go into the meeting with something that they've probably got baked out to 75, 80%. And then you can collaborate on the rest of that to really bring that to a product that you can really be proud of. If you're having problems with accountability in your office, I do hope this has helped in some way, shape, or form.